Hey guys, I've been getting lots of questions about writing equations from the graph. So I'm just throwing on there to see if maybe this helps. If it doesn't, you can completely ignore it. I will not be offended. But I want to look at a couple comparisons here. So one, we've worked with the graph f of x equals b to the x, or y equals b to the x, same thing. Okay, if we had this, my first point that I would normally do on this would be an x value of 0. And if I plugged in an x value of 0, then my y value would be 1. Why is that? Because if I put that in, b to the 0 power is 1. Okay? If I did that and my equation was already in the form a times b to the x, okay, then if I plugged in 0, I'd go b to the 0 is still 1, but now I'd multiply that answer by a. Okay, so now what would happen if I move that right or left, up or down? Well, the right or left changes the 0 value, and make it a different color. And my 0 value, or my right or left movement, is h. So this becomes 0 plus h, or 0 minus h, depending on if it moves right or left, up or down. And then how about for my y value here? Well, it was a, but now I'm going to move it up or down. Okay, and so that's going to be a plus k. And why is that helpful? Well, if I go down to the green one here, right, I need to find a times b to the x minus h plus k. Well, my first reference point there is 3, 3. So what can I come up with right away is my h value. Okay, right? Because I need to know a, b, h, and k. But I know normally I start at 0, and now I'm at h. So normally I start at 0, and here I'm at 3. So my h value is 3. Okay, that's the easy one to find. The other one that's usually pretty easy to find is your k value. Because my k value, did it move up or down? Well, yeah. And where are you going to find that out? Your asymptote. Okay, normally your asymptote is at y equals 0. And here you're also normally at y equals 0. But what happens if you move it up or down? Y equals k becomes your new asymptote. So back here in my equation, right, I moved it down 1, so k is -1. So yay, I have 2 pieces of my equation already figured out. Okay, so then here's the other piece that I can figure out, my a plus k. So this 3 here is equal to a plus k. We said k is -1. So what is a? 4. Right, and so now we just need to get our b value. Okay, and real quick, I'm going to go back up to my little chart here. My second reference point is normally a 1. And If I plug in 1 up here, b to the first is going to be b. If I go to my second column and I plug in a 1, b to the first is b, but I'm multiplying it by, b to the first is b, and if I'm multiplying it by this a value here, now I'm going to get a times b. Okay, well, what happens when I come over to my transformation where I have it moved right or left, up or down? So again, I started at 1, I moved right or left, so that's going to be 1 plus h. And then I had this y value and I moved it up or down, so that's going to be a times b plus k. So you have a couple things you can do. You can either look at this second reference point here, which is 7, and say, well, 7 equals a times b plus k. So 7 equals 4 times b minus 1, and you can solve that. Okay, or the other thing that you can do, if you forget the formula, whatever, okay, these y values are just like the chart. We looked before and we put numbers in a chart and we said, okay, how do you get, what's the pattern? How do I go from this one to this one? How do I go from this one to this one, etc., all the way down to the chart? The only problem with these y values is that these y values have been moved down 1. So if I want to look at the pattern in my chart, where would they have been before I moved them down 1? 4 and 8. Well, what's the pattern? How do I get from 4 to 8? Using multiplication or division, right? I times 2. That's my b value. And that's what we already said. So again, there's a way with a little formula here, or there's a way to use the pattern. Hopefully that helps. But then, of course, once you get all 4 of these numbers, you just plug them in there, and you would say this was y equals 4 times 2 to the x minus 3 minus 1, and that would be my equation. If you were, this is obviously a growth function. If you were doing this with a decay function, then your b, instead of being like a whole number, like 2 or 5, or being a number greater than 1, this is going to be a fraction. The b value would be like a half. Okay, and so it would still work out all the same. Hopefully that helps give you a little more explanation. Again, if it's not, you can still ask questions. I'll set up another Zoom again. I had a few people come in this morning and ask for some help, and we will get through this. Okay, have a great day.